What's up? It's your boy Carcino here, and I want to say thank you all for hitting up the Cash App. The name is Carcino on the Cash App, Karceno. You know, I want to give a quick shout out to those people who've been donating to the Cash App. Eric, Casey, T, Mr. Carter, James McCraw, Sin, Aaron, my homeboy Strictly, Mr. Sledge, even Mr. Tall came through, did his thing. Besides Soke, Sean, Missy, Mr. Gordon, Brandon Norman, of course. You know, Sincerely came through. Sincerely yours. Brian Carter. Jenny from the block. Jack Robinson. Isaac. Lamar. Thank you. And I know you guys enjoyed the Patreon yesterday. And we're here to elaborate on a lot of those different things. Back in the day, there were like, I would say several different instances where artists were in control of their own destinies and they lost that control, or either giving it away on their own and didn't even know what they were signing away. Now, Master P laid out a foundation where he could be where the record company producers and everybody else were. He was the Clive Davises. He was going to be in that position. He came through the door with that position. And when you come in at that position that he did and basically get a distribution deal as a rap artist, that was almost non-existent. Suge Knight was able to get a distribution deal based on the fact that no one wanted to be associated with that end of the business. And they didn't care what it was going to do. So okay, they want to, do a distribution deal over there. Let, Suge and his team do that. Until it became very lucrative and started to sell records in an amount that they never expected. And they're making hundreds of millions of dollars as a company. Master P was making money hand over fist. How did it all stop? Well, the problem is when you have a lot of talent on a label. Clive Davis, Jimmy Iovine, you don't see them on the stage with the artists. Master P made a very big mistake. And, well, I wouldn't say it was a mistake. It's just that with us, like Puff Daddy and all the other guys, we don't stay out of the mix with the artists. They're selling their own talent by mixing in with them and like, I'm going to sell the talent, I'm going to be the face. Instead of separating yourself from the talent, saying, look, I own the label, because now at some point these guys are going to want more money. At some point they're going to want to leave the label and go get another deal. And it's going to hurt the business eventually because they think, oh, they're leaving you. This guy's a superstar and he's leaving you. Master P's control got out of hand, I would say. If there was a problem in No Limit, that was it. His riff with KL started the destruction of No Limit. When it was time for KL, who made all the beats, to be compensated properly, Beats by the Pound was owned by Master P. So he could determine whoever Beats by the Pound is going to be. KL just worked there, so he felt like I could replace him and bring in some of these top producers that work with Puffy and all these other guys, and they going to make beats, but it ain't that New Orleans sound. You know, these guys is like, I can't get jiggy with this. This producer don't know me. He got me rapping on these beats. He's making me sound ridiculous. I can't. We don't like these new producers. We got to get KL back. You got to do. When the artists are telling you what they need and you're not providing it for the artists, they're going to think, man, this thing's falling apart. This ain't happening. They listening to the streets because most of these rappers are from the streets. This is their life. This is what they know. So when you see KL is the one that brought you all the talent. He had the talent. You made a deal with KL and his group because you had the money. He had the artists. So all of them were KL artists besides your family members. So he brought the talent to No Limit. You know, and y'all had a good run, man. They had a very good run. But I saw the No Limit documentary, and it's a lot of lies in it. It's too much to even, it's like a blatant disregard. You know, and it's like, wow, they're going to push this out in the public. I'm like, it opens the doors for people to come in and rebuke it. People who are actually there, not me. People who are actually there. They would say P is a very shrewd businessman. I'll say he's a businessman. Period. And that's just, when you're a businessman, you're not going to come to that level without doing certain things. So what they decided to do was drain the company. And when they got the re-up deal, No Limit had to provide a certain amount of records. But there were also benchmarks that the albums needed to make in order to get the bigger money that they were supposed to get. If not, then the company could restructure the deal. There's something I know that Master P don't know I know, or anybody else. If they don't hit a certain benchmark, the deal gets restructured by the Universal. Because when they duffed Priority and did the deal with Universal, it was big money, but there were catches. You got to hit benchmarks. Or Universal would get a major piece of No Limit Records and basically end up owning it. So to drain them out, Universal did what they normally do. Pay big money up front. A lot of money. All the artists that were on there were gone. Basically, they got a bailout check and they were out. And P just kept it all family. And when he did, they had the new No Limit records. Then that wasn't really popping anymore because Cash Money came in and hit the ground rolling. They were working harder. They were grinding. They were hungry. They wanted that spot. And with that turmoil going on over there, eventually some of them artists is going. They all know each other. So eventually some of them is going to roll over there with Baby now. Sometimes you could be a little too shrewd in business and it comes back to bite you. So you need to be a little bit careful and a little bit more respectful of that. Just for that purpose, you know, it can come back to bite you. I would say I'm quite sure he knew the mistakes. Pete was trying to make it to the NBA, and he actually earned a spot to really be on a team. He worked really hard for it. But while he was doing that, the record company was falling apart. He did a deal with WCW to do rap versus country music battle to promote their new rappers. I mean, the new wrestlers they had coming out that they didn't know what to do with. So at that time, it was epic, man, because it really put New Orleans rap on a main stage, and he showed rappers that we don't have to just be rappers. You know, he put out movies on the screen. He had all these scripts and started putting out his own film, distributing No Limit Films, and to see it all like fall the way it did, it was terrible for me because I felt he had something strong, you know, really strong and a great opportunity. And I think pride stood in the way a lot. When you've made it this far, be like, I made it on my own. When you could have partnered and gotten stronger in certain areas, I think he was too like, I'm just gonna, no, don't want to split this money with nobody else. And when you get like that all the time, you know, and it gets to a certain point where you cannot function, and it's all falling apart around you, man. And now you trying to make your son a star, and you know P is gonna be straight. P is gonna be straight forever. You know, it's the other ones. You know, the other artists. You know, they don't seem to be straight. It's a cycle that got to be broken, man. Oh man, it's terrible. I'm just sitting here thinking about it, man, because I watched that documentary and it blew my mind. because he never really fully explained the situation of what happened. That's why you saw all those Master P albums come out. It was like Master P Game Face, Master P All Stars, Master P. You're like, who are these people? Like, what are these albums? He had to put out all this music because it was part of the record deal structure that he did. He put himself in a position that, he felt he needed to do at the time. See, the record companies are very tricky and smart. They at that time decided, Master P used to rule the radio stations in the airwaves. When there was a new Mystical song out, when it was, no matter what it was, they basically dominated and owned that portion of the record business. So it was hard. Now, I admit it was hard for anybody to be successful without radio, really, at that time. Unless you were, you can go ghetto gold, but that's not where they were heading with No Limit. Every time they dropped, they were selling 1 million records. So now, without radio, at that time, it was like, man, Master P songs were not being played on any radio stations at all. It was total radio silence. There was no more promotion for Master P. And, it was just like he went away. And it was all about cash money at Universal. That's what they cared about. Cash Money Records. And as their stock was rising, Master P's was fading in the sand. Now, if I go ahead and do what I'm supposed to do, I might go through the whole details of this and that, but I sit here heartbroken, man, thinking about No Limit and where it was. Think about AG. Hey, Jeezy in the tank. But other than that, man, that's about it. I'm done. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. So let me get up out of here and get the day started. It was just something on my mind I wanted to talk about. What happened there, man? Because I felt that was an avenue, man. That was an avenue of opening doors, like the No Limit films. Like, I Got the Hook Up Part 2 was so cheesy. You know what I'm saying? It was just so wrong. It made no sense. It really just made no sense, man. I'm just looking at it and just it was a shadow of the original. I mean, I'm about it. Independent hood movie comes out. I mean, you just showing you more than an artist. You're more than just an artist or rapper. He was actually a mogul in the entertainment business. So I'm proud of Master P for his accomplishments, but I think his ego and pride got the best of him when he needed to open his mind and expand. And he got involved in other things. Like, they owned a gas station. They own a lot of things over there. Kid you not. So on that note, I'm out. Y'all have a blessed day. Deuces.